Hello everybody, it is me, Pacific. This video is going to be a shorty, so I apologize for that. I just read on the news, and I will include the link for you to read, that our wonderful president has said that he is all for going forward with the legalization of marijuana and thinks that it is wrong and inappropriate to jail somebody for using marijuana. He admitted that he himself did drugs. Isn't that nice? Now, I got to be careful what I say because we all have sins. But I wonder how many people would vote me in office who's never done drugs, never drank, never smoked, and never gambled. Oh, but wait a minute. There's some Christian women out there that would say, oh, but you've been sexually immoral. Yeah, I know. But you know what? President Barack Obama says, and others, that pot is not as dangerous as alcohol. Really? He does say that it's a slippery slope to legalize it. He said that he did it, and he doesn't recommend his kids do it because, it's just dumb. But why would he encourage the legalization of it? Why is it that we have a mentality in society, well, people are going to do it anyway, so we should legalize it? Okay, let's use your flawed reasoning. People are going to be pedophiles, let's legalize it. People are going to rape, let's legalize it. People are going to domestically abuse their spouses, male or female, let's legalize that. And while we're at it, why don't we legalize arson? Because they're going to burn down houses anyway, which they do in Detroit every year. Thugs in the city of Detroit. Detroit, to me, by the way, as a sidebar, is the biggest armpit in America. Detroit is very reflective of how our culture has gone to hell in a handbasket. And you want to know what's really beautiful about Detroit? Detroit is symbolic of where the automobile has been taking us for umpteen decades now. It's destroying us. When I drive on the road every day, I see that the automobile has just become synonymous with cheap and I could give a crap culture. We don't care about people's rights on the road. We breeze in and out of stupid overpriced convenience stores, and our life is just cheap and tacky, cheap and tacky, cheap and tacky. Come and go, come and go. In Detroit, the automotive industry is folded up there, and now it's a ghost town, a ghetto town. And every Halloween, all these fools go and set buildings on fire, and the fire department finally said, we're not even going to respond anymore. Ain't Detroit a great place? Yeah. Right now, we have the worst president in U.S. history. The worst president. He lives the good life. He makes the good money. He prefers the college educated because they're all brainwashed with the evolutionistic, homosexual, kill your babies in the name of abortion, feminist agenda. He makes the good money. He doesn't have to worry about the cost of health insurance, and he doesn't care about us. Now he says we should go ahead with the legalization of pot. Should it surprise us? Barack Obama is a puppet of Satan. He is not a godly man. He is not a Christian man. We don't know what he is in terms of religious. Some people say he's Muslim. I don't know. He seems to show an awful lot of favor towards the Muslims. But Barack Obama is not a born-again saint. Barack Obama is a puppet of the devil. When we live in a country that is ruled by the prince of the power of the air, we Christians have got to realize that we're not going to win this war. The war has already been won. But when you have a president now saying that, it's inappropriate to jail people for smoking pot. Why is that, Barack Obama? It's drug usage. We'll still jail them for cocaine. Why do we make a differentiation now between the drugs? Do you see what's happening in our society that believes in evolution? One by one, the standards are falling like dominoes. We're going to pick and choose the rules we're going to follow and ignore the ones we don't want to follow. It's as simple as that. So now Barack Obama has just made himself quite popular with the pot activists. It even said that in the article. When people walk in darkness, when people are not spiritually enlightened, meaning a saved relationship with Jesus Christ, this is all they're capable of doing, is promoting more darkness. This stuff is ridiculous. I read it, I shudder, and I look at this man who claims to be our leader and our president, and I'm disgusted. I wouldn't want to run for president, and I'll tell you why. Because I have failed. And I'm okay with people having imperfections, but I think that a leader needs to be made of stronger stuff than Barack Obama. I don't think we should have an ex-pot smoker in the White House. I don't think we should have somebody in the White House who endorses evolution and endorses gay rights and endorses all the stuff he endorses. He's a godless man. He himself said we're not a Christian nation. I agree. But the problem is the ego of Barack Obama and his family and his wife is going to come up against the mighty God one day, and they will lose. They've already lost. We tell our children not to do drugs, and yet with the presidential leader saying go ahead with the legalization of it, you have to wonder, what is he thinking? Viewers, these are the people that call themselves the intelligentsia of our society. They have the college degree, they're in positions of power, they wear their suit and tie, and you listen to the stuff that comes out of their mouth, and you have to ask yourself, they're saying that Christians are not intellectual? I have to chuckle. I look at a leader like this who says, well, I don't advocate using pot, but I advocate legalizing it. Really? It's not as dangerous as alcohol. That, my friends, is not a leader. That is a man who's trying to make himself palatable to all the splinter groups out there, to get all the votes from the dregs of society. Let me say that one more time. The Democrat Party does anything it can to get all the votes it can from the dregs of society. Those that don't get a job and sit on their butt when they can work. Those women that have illicit sex and have abortions. Those men who jump from girl to girl to girl, fathering children and running off and leaving them. Those illegal immigration supporters, the gay agenda supporters, the tree hugger supporters, the feminist supporters. This president will stop at nothing to curry votes from an increasingly godless culture. And he can go home every night and go to bed and say, the populace voted for me. The populace that's going straight to hell. The populace that laughs and mocks and makes fun of truth. The populace that denies the Creator and worships the creature. Way to go, Barak. You're a real good man. Not. It's really hard to have respect for a leader such as this. I've become increasingly jaded against our political leaders, Republican and Democrat, that live the good life. They don't come down and interview me. They interview people that make them look good. Barack Obama's never going to ride on my school bus and look at what I put up with every day. He's not going to look at my disposable income and tell me with a straight face why he says that he's made health insurance affordable for people like me. Barack Obama's not going to leave his lofty palatial throne in the White House and his good lucrative income and get down here with the rest of us. Barack Obama doesn't care about the people who work for Walmart, McDonald's, or bus aides or janitors. I have no respect for most of our leaders today. They're liars. They're takers. They've built and padded their retirement and their vacation getaways and their golf dates while the rest of us go through hardship, and he says that God bless the United States. I have to laugh at that. I have to laugh when any leader says that. God is not obligated to bless a godless culture. We throw sayings and phrases around, they've become so cheapened. No matter what Barack Obama says, one message is loud and clear, that he endorses smoking pot, using marijuana. No matter how he slices it, it still comes up as drug promiscuous. And the thing that bothers me is that now children will say, wow, our leader's cool. He believes in the legalization of this. Pretty sleazy. When the first black president of the United States of America is doing everything he can to give black people a bad name. When people voted in a man who is not a leader, but has an agenda and is selfish and has an ego that doesn't quit and wants to ram his agenda through, even against the wishes of the majority of the American people. When he's got a democratic, stacked, favored group of people that are continuing to get behind this guy, and now, as people are running for re-election, are suddenly trying to part ways with him, I think we ought to fire every one of those politicians that are standing up and saying, we're against Obamacare now. Get them out of there. You supported them all the way through, and now when it doesn't look good for your re-election, now you're going to be a cheap whore. I'm so sick of politicians in America. They're disgusting. Homeland Security needs to start getting rid of those guys. Those guys are a threat to our national security. They're a threat to my quality of life. They're a threat to my smaller income than theirs, and yet they heap more expenses on us and more oppression on us. And what rights do I have? While the gays are screaming for gay marriage and getting it, while the abortionists are constantly screaming for the right to kill their children, while the feminists stomp and stamp over every white man and black man in this nation, where's my rights? And I'm not a splinter special minority interest group. I represent the bulk of millions of Americans that are hardworking, that are not middle class, but that are not quite poverty level, but not too far above it. And what do I have? I have yet to see one political leader since my birth represent us. Barack Obama is sleazy. He is a liar. He has lied to the American people about the Health Care Reform Act. It has been smoke and mirrors. There's been so much it wasn't told us. It was passed behind closed doors, and the American people will not still to this day stand up collectively and shout him down and get him out of office. When Pacific talks about feminism and self-centered American people, the proof is the fact that he continues to do and say what he does every day, and most Americans just go on about their business and go, oh yeah, whatever. We do not have unity. We do not have solidarity in this country. And while we who are conservative and we who believe in God are sleeping at the wheel, the pot smokers are getting their rights, the gay agenda is getting their rights, the feminists are continuing to gain momentum. Male bashing is perfectly acceptable, except if you're Barack Obama and black, you can get away with saying and doing anything and the feminists adore you. Pretty pathetic. If Pacific ran for any office and my voting bloc was those that favored illegal immigration and favored pot legalization and smoking and using it, if my voting bloc was the feminists and the gays and the abortionists and those that are anti-family and anti-faith in God, and the evolutionists and the people who are just clamoring for the destruction of any morals, any solid foundation, I would think I would be ashamed of myself. The righteous don't win today, but we win in the end. The popular people that the press holds up and lauds, they're not going to hear, well done, thou good and faithful servant in heaven. I promise you that. In fact, rather, you're not even going to hear their name mentioned because they won't be there. The Bible says, marvel not that the world hates you. It hated me first. If they love Barack Obama and they love the divas on television, chances are that they're not in God's kingdom. Hello. It's very hard for Pacific to get behind this president. If I was in his presence and I had to have a right to speech with him, it would be very hard. I would try to maintain protocol, but I would say, Barack Obama, what are you doing? What are you really doing? I mean, do you ever stop and take a look at yourself? Do you ever lay down in bed at night and actually ask yourself a question? One, is there an eternity? And if there is, what good are you really doing? All Obamacare did, people, was force everybody to buy a premium. It did not make it more affordable for anybody. It's the same system that's in place. If you're on welfare, you get free insurance. You get free treatment. End of story. That hasn't changed. The only thing that's changed is it's become a law that I have to get something or get fined. The affordability level? No. College students having to pay $400 a month for health insurance when Obama encourages college and people are in debt with student loans, and now he's heaped another $400 a month on them, and college students are mad. And guess what? The House voted for Barack Obama to start releasing the numbers of people that are actually getting involved in Obamacare, and he doesn't like that at all. Because reality is starting to show that millions are not getting on board the Obama train. Pacific will get fined this year because I'm not getting on board. I'm not going to work myself through the maze of ridiculous, stupid forms on an internet and to see if I qualify for this or that. If this is such a wonderful plan, he should have an office right here in Lakewood, Colorado that I can go down to and they sign me up and they give me the best deal. But no. All our government continues to do is impinge on my way of living in a way that hurts. The Affordable Health Care Reform Act. We should go ahead with the legalization of marijuana. We should go ahead and give Syria and Egypt and all these countries more money. But let's kick the hardworking Americans that are not middle class in the groin with another law that's passed that will cost them lots of money. Looking at the cost of rent in Denver, trying to find a friend a place to live, made me realize if I bought Obamacare and then I leave here and go out and try to rent, I can't make it. What is Barack Obama thinking? I'm not looking at renting a loft. I'm talking about a one-bedroom apartment that's in a reasonably safe neighborhood. Is Barack Obama in touch with reality? I don't think so. And this is the problem of most Americans, middle class, upper middle class, and the rich. They don't care about the rest of us. They have no interest in our struggle. And yes, it appears that our federal government is trying to phase us out. And they're doing it, and nobody's saying a word. It appears that our federal government's trying to make us a third world nation, create deep divide of poverty on one side and incredibly wealthy on the other. Is anybody paying attention to this? We're giving groups of people rights that have no business having rights. It is not a biblical right for gay marriage. It certainly is not a biblical right to use drugs for the purpose of getting high. And yet, The people voted this clown into office. Amazing. Simply amazing. This is Pacific, signing off. Bye-bye.